Hi, my name is Adrian and this is my husband Mark.
Hello.
We do it-yourself projects for our home to save money.
And here are a few examples.
Our next project is installing a penny floor.
Well, this is really her project. I'm just kind of helping her as needed. So I'll see you a little bit later in the video. Bye-bye.
Oh, okay. Bye. Okay, I guess he's out. That's okay because he does come in and help me whenever needed. So anyway, I'm so excited. I'm going to pretty much do this project on my own. This is something I've always wanted to do. I will forewarn you that this video is a little long. I take you through the journey with me. You will see some of the challenges as well as my successes. You'll see little details and helpful hints throughout the video. And I've even thrown in a few surprises just to keep it interesting. So grab a cup of coffee, maybe a glass of wine, and sit back, and I hope you enjoy the video. And if you install a penny floor or do anything remotely close to that, please comment below and let me know your successes. We painted this an auburn color, and this is where my penny floors are going to go. Before I get started, I want to make sure that I'm working with an even floor. You don't want peaks and valleys and things like that, because when you get down and you're trying to put the pennies in, you don't want an uneven floor and pennies not butting up next to each other and that type of thing. You want a dust-free, even floor. So once I get all this stuff up, I'm scraping that, and I'm going to be watering it down and dusting and all that stuff. And then I'm going to make sure that it is level. We want a level floor. So the most important ingredient for this project are pennies. So I saved some pennies over time, but then realized you can literally go to the bank and ask for some pennies. So that's what I did to add to my collection. And if you're kind of OCD like me, you can open up your pennies and sort through them. And that's what I did. I sorted them bright, dull. And then the pennies that I had before, I washed them in vinegar, a little dishwashing liquid. I put some baking soda in there, and just over time, they started changing this other color. As you can see, it's kind of a multifaceted, some of them are really gorgeous. They have like greens in it and little magenta and some other things. So I thought that'd be cool to kind of throw some of those in there. But as you can see, my bathroom was really small and it's kind of dark in there. So I don't really want dull pennies for my project, so I am going to eliminate that, and I'm going to work with bright ones and throw in some of my faceted ones, and there you have it. So those are my pennies. Hopefully I have enough because I didn't count. Okay, so these are the supplies you're going to need when doing this project, and it's pretty much in this order. because first we have to do a little prep work, and that's what the masking tape is for. I prefer to use gloves because you're going to be working with pennies, and I don't want like copper residue all over my fingers. And then you're gonna need a heavy duty construction adhesive to put your pennies down and keep them in place. And then afterwards, we're gonna grout them. At least I'm grouting mine in black. So I have that really cool contrast in an unsanded grout. You're gonna need your grout tool and your, you know, sponge. And then I chose to do like a epoxy resin, so for a high gloss finish, and there that is.
I'm going to interject here because this product is designed to use on smaller surfaces, such as tables and smaller projects. This product is not designed for floors. You'll have to keep watching to find out what happened.
Now, for those of you who feel that you may be challenged at times, I suggest that you add the following items to your supply list. There ain't nothing wrong with leaving a little room for error now, is it? Know what I'm saying? Okay, now it's time to lay my pennies. And the hard part is determining where you want to start. I am doing a very simple lay the pennies down, no designs. So I don't need to start in the middle of the floor, getting the perfect center and then working my way out and you end up, you know, on the edges. I'm gonna start on one edge, make my way to the back of this toilet area. So, I don't want to fill this space of pennies when I'm gonna have a vanity sitting there. So what I wanna do is just have a row of pennies on each side. And, you know, I don't want to waste any money. You know what I'm saying? You can buy a piece of candy with all those pennies. So my cabinet is 36 inches long. And it comes out this way, 20 inches. So looking at my wall to wall, it's 38.5 inches. So it's gonna be about 1.25 inches on each side, showing. So as you can see, I got my pennies right here. So this is going to be the baseboard. I am not gonna put the baseboard over the pennies. The baseboard will be sitting right on the concrete and I'm gonna go up against the baseboard. So the baseboard on the bottom is about, well, I already measured it, is 1/4 inch. So I just got 1 inch left on this side. So 2 pennies should do that. Yep, it's a little bit over, so perfect. So I'm just gonna do a row here, a row on that side, and then when I hit 20 inches, right here at 20, and I'm gonna mark that, there it is. That's when I start all of my pennies all the way across the floor. That way I'm not wasting pennies. Okay, I'll see you in a bit. Okay, as you can see, I got my first line done. I stopped here at the line where the vanity ends. So I know that I can start doing pennies all over when I get to that point. Now there's a couple ways you can do this. So as I start my second row, I'm going to move the baseboard here. Okay. Now I'm going to do, I can butt it up this way. Then you're going to have to do all your pennies like that. And then I think it's harder this way. And then as you can see, you're going to have a bigger space in between. See? Instead, I'm going to do it this way. I think this is easier. You're going to have a smaller space in between. And then it's going to be easier because once you have the first row, you just slap the rest of them in there like that. I think that looks good. Okay, so just not good at these things. I can't. Okay, I'm about to be asking for help in a minute. Oh, here we go. Okay. Oh my gosh, this is like lifting weights. Ooh, and I got my jam going. I love this song. I love old school. Okay, so this is not that pretty, but hey. And we don't want too much glue because then it's going to be coming up the sides. And when we get to the point of grouting, you're going to have all this glue sticking up. And we don't want that either. Okay, I just realized if I start on this side, then at some point, these pennies are going to have to butt up next to each other and meet. And I don't want to risk there being gaps and not fitting right. You know, like if I have a penny right here and I stop here and then these are coming this way, they might not butt up properly. So if you find that your pennies are not butting up properly, that's when the penny cutters are your friend. I've had to use this on a few occasions. And if you find that there's a few gaps that you'd like to close up, that's when you can use your copper nail polish. Gotta do what you gotta do. Know what I'm saying? Okay, so this is how far I've come. I'm getting hang of this thing. It's still a little hard to do, but I'm getting used to it. And I take a little from my bright one and a little from my multifaceted one and kind of just set them down here and just keep it moving. Now that I got my lines straight and get those first ones in, it's a lot easier to just keep it moving. Okay, I've made huge progress here. Some of my hands are killing me because that glue thing is really difficult. I might have to go get something different because I know something else will work that's easier. But I have run into maybe a small dilemma. So remember we measured that. So look, there's really no way to avoid this. I just can't. Okay, so unless we're gonna be cutting pennies, or simple fix, we're just gonna do a row of pennies here and then the baseboards will just go over the pennies. No big deal. And I'll put another row over here. Okay. Okay, I'm really making progress. I've been able to speed up the process because I had to get a little help. My husband gave me a different adhesive. Let's see what that is. Oh, liquid nails, okay. All right, it's coming out much easier, so I'm able to move faster. Okay, here's where I left off last night. I started late and then I was getting tired and my hands hurt. So this is day 2. It's 5 a.m. in the morning and I'm gonna get started on this. I'm excited. I'm gonna continue to use liquid nails, but I just don't know what's the best thing to use. I know there's silicones out there and probably stuff that's much easier, maybe even more appropriate, but I don't know any better and this is working, so this is what I'm gonna use. Also note that when you're spreading your glue out, you wanna make sure that you're not getting gobs of it and pressing the penny into it to the point where it's spilling out on the sides, because you want these in-between areas clear because you're gonna put grout in there. And if you have glue sticking out, the grout's not gonna take there. And then you're gonna have like spaces of white and spaces of black. And that's not cute. I am considering adding a little center decoration, if you will, if it works out, because it kind of depends on how the pennies play out. So what I've done, I've marked the middle of the room according to the end of the toilet and then the middle of the vanity. And I marked that little X, because when I get close to that area, I'm gonna see if I can make a little design. I have a silver penny that I found years ago, and I'm gonna at the very least put that silver penny right in the middle. And if I can do some kind of design around that, I'm gonna do it. If not, silver penny. Here's my silver penny. Isn't that cool? So I'm gonna make a design. I took an array of dark pennies, and I'm gonna make a design. And I'm making my design first, and as I come through this row, these will be the pennies that I'm laying. So it'll look like this. Like a little star in the middle of the room. See? Okay, well here's my progress. This is like day 3, but yesterday I had other things to do, so I just couldn't get to it. And yes, as you can see, I got tunes in the back. I can't work without music. Anyway, you see my little star? Look how cute that looks. So it does stand out. I put my silver penny in there and, you know, had my darkest pennies to make it stand out. Okay, so I made a boo-boo. So do you remember in the beginning I started here? And then I came over here. And then I started going this way. Going back and forth. And then I decided, hey, you know what? I want to start here so I can use my best pennies in the middle of the room. So I transitioned my direction. I do not recommend that, because then you're going to run into something that's not going to fit. Like I had a penny not fit. And if I would have put it in and continued on, then these would not fit like that. It would be off, like this would be over here, and then it would just be messed up for the rest of the time. So you can either, this is what I did. So to fix that, oh my gosh, I can't even feel it anymore. What happened? How did I fix, oh, here it is. Ooh, good. I might have to fix that. I put pennies and I kind of lodged it in there and just, it was crooked. See, here's one right here. It's crooked. This is not flush to the concrete. This is sticking out right here. But if I didn't do that, this would not have this continual even look. So when I put the epoxy resin on it, I'm assuming that all that's going to be covered and you won't even know. And then hopefully I won't feel this coming up. Here's another one. I just had to do it. And I lost a little sleep over it, but I think it'll come out okay. Okay. That's my flaw. We'll see how it turns out.
This method ended up not working. I didn't want to risk having raised areas in the finished floor. This is the point I discovered cutting the pennies. I didn't have a penny cutter at the time, so I used an aviation snip. And look, they even have curved ones.
Okay, as you can see, I'm almost done because I'm going to do maybe a row each on that side. And then finish the back, and then I'm done. What you may have noticed is towards this area, see how the pennies look different? I'm done picking through the bright, pretty ones because I wanted those to be the ones that you see in the main area. But as we go back behind the toilet, it doesn't really matter. But it still looks good. But I can see that there's a change. I didn't want to keep going to the bank and then I'd be stuck with all these old pennies. Anyway, there you have it. Okay, so here is the finished look of my pennies. I'm really happy about how it turned out. I think it looks great. I'm ready to grout. As you can see, I put my misfit pennies over by where the toilet is going to go because we're going to put that toilet right over that, and so I can have a cleaner look around the edges, and I'll show that later. There we go. Now I'm going to start grouting in black grout. So I'm finding that this is a very handy tool to grout this. Usually I would use the trowel, I guess, for grouting with the spongy bottom and push it into it. But this is working great because I'm able to kind of push it in there, and I don't make it too thick because these are such small little openings. I want to make sure it gets in there. So I'm kind of going all the way to the edge so that when we put the baseboards in, if there's anything showing, which I don't think it will be, it'll be black. I want it to all look consistent. And I just kind of scrape it up, and it's just does really well. And I wait a little while, let it dry a little bit before you wipe it away, because then it just seems like it just, some of the grout comes back out. And yeah, I'm happy. It's going fairly quick, and I'm liking the results. I kind of redistribute it. Scrape, redistribute, scrape again, just to make sure that it's in there good. And this is the area I just did, so it cleaned up really well.
Once your grout has dried completely, be sure to clean up any haze residue to a dust-free surface before applying the epoxy resin.
Greetings. Okay, so we're at the glaze coat portion of my penny floor. So what I've done, and this is in the beginning of the video, this is what I told you I was going to use, this glaze coat. So I sat down, had my morning coffee, pulled out the directions, and read it thoroughly. And it says directly on there, do not use on floors. So that concerned me. So I said, okay, well, let me call the company and find out why. And I'd like to put your glaze coat finish on top of that. What do you think? He said, I would not recommend using our product on your floors. Those are designed for crafts and tables and, you know, bar countertops and that type of thing and other crafts, but not on floors. There's other things you can use. You can use an epoxy, like the garage type stuff, but you're not going to get that same finish. My opinion, I want a thick, glossy glass, high gloss look. And I'm willing to do what it takes to find that look. So he recommended that it, you know, you just let the professionals do it. So he recommended a gentleman that he has recommended before. His name is Igor. So I called Igor and said, hey, this is what I'm doing. And he said, you know, I can help you achieve that look without actually doing it. I mean, if you're a do-it-yourself, I'm going to tell you what you need to do. So he gave me the scoop. So I'm really excited. Okay, like I said, my husband's going to help me. So what are we doing? How do we measure how we do the thin coat?
We're doing an initial first coat, a thin coat, to seal and help reduce the bubbles. So if you do too thick of a coating, then you have a chance of more bubbles. So we're going to do an initial thin coat, and then we're going to come back 6 hours later and do a second coat. The initial thin coat is 1/4 of the amount of fluid that we have. So we have 60, each of these are 64 ounces. So we're doing 16 ounces of each, 1-to-1 ratio.
Okay, so measure. We're going to pour equal parts of resin and hardener into separate clean containers. The mix must be 1-to-1 ratio by volume, meaning equal parts resin and hardener. So our buckets have measurements on it to make this easier. Okay, so that's A, resin, and you're going to pour 16 ounces?
Yes.
Okay, 16 ounces of that. This is bucket A with resin. It's like a hair below it, but so make it a hair below that one. Now we're at the bucket B hardener. 16 ounces of that. All right. Okay, now we're about to mix. So pour hardener, side B, the one you just did, into the container with resin. Bucket. So pour B, which one, the one that you just did, into A. And do it completely. And make sure you use the, and try to get as much as possible. And thoroughly mix for 6 minutes. Mix with a stir stick using gentle, steady revolutions. Scrape all the sides and the bottom of the container with your stirring stick as you mix. Okay, the second step, before we pour the resin and hardener mixture into the cleaner, into a different container, we're going to add the alcohol, about 2 ounces. This will thin it out a little bit and also help to eliminate the air bubbles. Now you'll mix that in, and then you're going to pour the resin and hardener mixture into a clean mixing container and thoroughly stir for an additional 6 minutes. I only have 15 minutes to do this.
I'm stirring as we go.
Okay. Okay, I'm done. I did it. I'm happy with it. I did see a few bubbles pop up. So I took my little spray bottle and just lightly sprayed it, and then they went away. So remember, this is just the first coat. Okay, we're gonna let this sit for 4 or 5 hours till it dries, and then we will apply the second coat. Okay, so we finished the first coat. We let it dry overnight. And again, this is a thin coat. So I did see a few bubbles when I got close, but I just kind of did an overall spray of the alcohol all over the floor, just like a light rain spray. And I saw them, like, the little bubbles disintegrate, so it's kind of cool to watch. But as you can see a nice little coat. Yeah, and it was sticky for a long time, but now it's pretty dry. We also had a heater in here overnight. We got a little fan going right here just to get the process going a little bit faster. First coat. So my second coat, I want it to look raised a bit. I want a thicker coat where it looks like a glass finish. So even if I don't achieve that all the way, I'm still going to be happy. But you know, something happened to my flower. My little star kind of faded. I don't know if I rubbed the pennies too hard when I was cleaning. There's a couple here that are faded. And my star isn't as distinguished as I remember. So anyway, I'm a little disappointed with that. But what's done is done. Okay, I am happy with the results so far. So round 2, we're going to repeat the process that I did yesterday with my husband. And we're just going to spread it thick. And that's it. See you in a bit. For the second, thicker coat, we mixed the remainder of the epoxy resin product, but did not add alcohol this time. I thought it would thin out the consistency too much and not result in the thick, high gloss finish I was looking for. Here's the outcome. Okay, so that was probably the most stressful things that I've done in a long time. We poured the last coat. We wanted to do it thick. I'm not going to say we, I'm going to say I, because this was my whole idea. And when I watched YouTube videos of people pouring this penny floor and putting the epoxy over it, they were pouring it thick. And you need to do that, because I'm not going to blame my husband, but he's also saying you're pouring too much and blah, 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 and telling me stuff. You know how that is when you're concentrating, you're hot, you're trying not to fall on it, and I'm trying to scrape it together, and it's very, very stressful. So, I'm going to show you that there are some discrepancies. So, as it was drying, I'm trying to scrape it together to make sure the coverage, it covered it, but it's drying so fast, then it just kind of dries, and then you're not getting a smooth finish. And so there are some discrepancies, and I'm a little irritated. Did I mention I was a little irritated? But I'm going to show you. Okay, as you can see right there, it did not come all the way, and by the time I got to it, it was getting all sticky, and it was gonna turn out like this. There's like a little bit of a hill over here. I don't know if you can see it through here, but as you can see right here, it looks beautiful, which is good, because that's gonna be my traffic area, the higher traffic area. But there's some places that did not blend. Also, after I did, I saw some bubbles coming, and I was on top of it. I started using my spray bottle for the alcohol, and then they went away. But there's an area right there. You can see it. See, this is it clean and beautiful, and then you come right here, and it's looking a little choppy. You can see it, see? So, I did get a hold of my professional Igor guy. And I texted him and asked him if I were to do another batch when this fully cures, probably it's gonna take like 3 days, if I can do some touch-ups. He didn't get back to me yet, but I'll let you know. If not, then we might be doing some clear nail polish. I don't know, but that's like right when you walk in. Again, that was stressful, and I mean, it's what's done is done, but for the most part, it looks beautiful. Couple areas. This will be covered up with a transition piece, so I'm not really concerned about this area right here. This area right here. Okay, there you have it. When we have our furniture in place and our baseboards and all that, and this is all dry, the toilet will be there, and maybe we'll get some different shadows and whatnot, and maybe it'll look just fine, and I won't have to stress about this. So that'll be my next video, and so wish me luck. Okay, so you saw my floors. They weren't perfect, but there's some good areas. I can clean it up a little bit, but what could possibly go wrong at this point? You just don't step on it and you let it cure overnight. But 45 minutes in, out of nowhere, a leak. A leak. A leak from this. Out of nowhere, there was a leak. I didn't even know the thing was working. But water got all over the floors. And Mark discovered it. He said, honey, did you put another coat on this? And he realized it was wet and it was flooding. So he got towels and just had to stop the leak. Now we have towel impressions all over an uncured floor. So you can only imagine my penny floors. I'm devastated. What do you do from here? Where do I go from here? I'm lost for words. I don't know what to do at this point. You got it all together, don't you, baby? Murphy's Law, sure out to get you. Namaste. Okay, I've had time to think about this, gather my thoughts. I took a couple days off of this penny floor and did some things that I enjoy doing. I did some yoga, some meditation, I watched some Netflix, and just seriously just took my mind off of it. Now I'm ready to regroup and talk about some solutions. So my husband and I had a talk. We also talked with Igor. He said that we can fix this. He said basically what we could do was sand the areas that need help, and you have to kind of sand it so that you reapply it and it has something to stick to. So we have to kind of aggravate that area. And basically do it again and just put another layer on it, and I'm not feeling that. My husband thinks that we can fix this. I'm pretty confident that he probably could. I'm just not comfortable with it. We're just not professionals. So I'm hiring Igor. You guys get to meet Igor. He's coming tomorrow and he's gonna fix our floors. I'm excited, so stay tuned.
Thanks a little bit, not but
Okay, so this is Igor. Say hi, Igor. Not Igor, Igor. He is coming to our rescue.
Igor or Igor, each one.
Okay, it is not pronounced Igor or Igor. It's Igor.
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 Yeah.
Alrighty. This is the result of the Towel Impressions flood episode. It's hard to tell because it's just hard to see through the video, but it's there, and if you can run your hands through it, you'd be able to feel the rough areas. So anyway, Igor is going to fix this for us right now. So what are you doing first? You're sanding?
I'm gonna sand.
Mm-hmm.
Then, dry them lightly, and we use acetone.
Acetone. Okay.
Acetone, good to clean, and also acetone make epoxy soft for the second coat.
Oh, okay.
Alcohol, no. But it's okay just to use acetone. Alcohol, because people who never use acetone, they make mistake. Why? Because when they clean with acetone, the epoxy comes very soft. They can walk or step, and it's gonna be a mud.
More damage.
So you need to wait a little bit. If it's a small, area, it's fine. But if it's a big area.
Okay, so here it is sanded down. And I guess he's out there making the epoxy. I want to stay out of his way. I had my time. So here we go.
See what kind of tape we use? This is, we need to cover all the baseboards because the epoxy needs to be in some kind of atmosphere. She can feel wall everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a self-level. She can flow whatever she think level for her, and all your beauty of the thickness is gonna go this way or that way. Okay?
Do you guide it at all? A little bit.
But and I use blue tape. It's from Spec West.
Okay.
Because it's very strong, but in the same time it have a very good, like maybe 5 days can stick,
and it won't
and
damage.
it's gonna be okay.
Okay.
So first what we do, they cover the floor. So we don't mess our customer food.
After sanding, you're putting acetone.
Yes, we cleaning and at the same time acetone make this epoxy little bit soft. In a second, you still gonna put baseboard. And baseboard like this thick. So you don't need to take this out. You just put the baseboard.
So we don't need to put tape around the toilet?
Yeah, why? Because it's a clear. So the epoxy, it can stick, but it's not gonna stick and stay together.
So if we had to replace the toilet, we could?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just,
okay.
you need to have a good heart to do something you like.
That is true.
If you don't like it, just watch TV. Okay, now, we need cheap brush. We need to use a tape and do like this.
Oh, that's
So
what
okay, so when you clean, you can even do like this, just make sure. Because when the hair in epoxy, it's hard to take. Okay. Now, I use, it's called squeegee, this one. You don't need to use it. You can use trowel, you can use plastic to move epoxy. Or you can use brush. Depends on your skin. Now, this epoxy, it's EX74. UV resistant. 40, 64 of B and 64 of A.
So 1 part each.
One.
Equal parts of each.
And see, it's very liquid. So what I'm doing, I'm just gonna put everywhere. At the same time, I'm gonna mix it with this. Don't use very big speed. I'm gonna use it because I know time frame, but for if you're new in this stuff, use very slow like this.
Okay. But you know what you're doing.
Yeah, I know.
You're professional.
When you kind of use more speed, bubble comes very fast. And if you don't know how to kill the bubbles, you're gonna have a problem. So I'm using makes it 3 minutes. You don't need to use more. So 3 minutes to 1.5 minutes in one way, and you keep to do up and down, up and down. Never mix epoxy with this kind of speed because it's gonna dry quick. I do it because I know my skill.
Did you hear that? Never mix epoxy that fast because bubbles come, and he's professional, very experienced, and he knows what he's doing.
So then next what you need to do, you need to scrub epoxy from the bottom of the wall of the bucket and use a stick. Another minute maybe. One way. And always use mask. Always. Okay. So you mix 3 minutes and the epoxy comes one color. You can see. See? One color. Spot. 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 And quick, very quick, move material because of Very quick, very quick, very quick. You don't need to worry about anything. Just move. Okay. Same thing. Connect it with one another. Connect with one another. Just move. And I'm not worried right now about the walls because I tape. And it's good because the epoxy is gonna stay with me. So when I put close to the toilet, I don't touch toilet. I just move like this. Okay. Okay. Now I'm gonna put here a little bit, here a little bit here. Why? Because you want. Okay. Okay. You want. I take from here, move here, here, move here like this. And because I know what I'm doing, I know how much material I'm applying it. And the beauty of soft level, it's going to be levelly everywhere, nicely. Okay, now we move here and we put the rest. Like this. Yum, 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 yum. Very good. Now you take your stick.
Behind you.
Okay. And you do like
Now
this.
the product I was using would already be drying, gelling up, and I would be freaking out. So it is not just skill. The product that he's using is allowing him more time to work with it. And the product I was using was not designed for floors for this reason. So I will post what he's using. And I'll also post his information because he's pretty amazing.
Alright. So, like you see, I start to move right now product in this area, in this area, in this, like this. A little bit close, a little bit close, a little bit close, everywhere. You just move. Don't worry. This product is very good.
Yeah, yours doesn't dry as fast as mine did. Mine was dry by now.
Now, you need to feel epoxy. So, what I'm doing right now, I'm gonna take from one corner. Now, I'm not gonna push anything. Just gonna pull it, just a little bit. So I wanna make everywhere even. And I know which area I put a lot. So
I'm getting seasick.
Yeah, my brush would have been sticking to that floor by now.
okay, so and from this area, same thing. Kind of move. You need to make sure it's everywhere. We want to make shoots everywhere. You can look like different angle and see maybe one spot maybe don't have anything, but just check everywhere. You have small time to do that.
How long will this take to cure completely?
I can say maybe this product is very good. So curing process completely is 3 days.
Okay.
But you can touch it taking 8 hours, and it's important mixing time, because you need to mix everything.
So he fixed our floors. It looks amazing. I know it's not done yet, but I can just tell by the self-leveling and all the little discrepancies that I left. His is flawless. Thank you, Igor.
So now it's time to wait. Maybe we're gonna wait 15 minutes, and then we're gonna spray acetone.
Okay. Well, there you have it. No question that I ran into some issues, but it ultimately led to a beautiful penny floor. I'm trying to convince my husband to remodel our master bath and closet. If you'd like, go ahead and subscribe to build pressure. Good luck with your home project endeavors, and thank you for watching. Hi, I'm Adrienne, and this is my husband, Mark.
Here are a few examples.